This is the brand new Ferrari 12 cilindri, which from now on I'm going to call the Ferrari 12-cylinder. It's a replacement for the 812 Superfast, and it could be the very last front-engined, naturally aspirated V12 Ferrari ever. But could it also be the greatest Ferrari ever? In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about it. First impressions matter, and you know what? I think this is a good looking car. It doesn't look that similar to the 812 Superfast, but this is deliberate. Ferrari didn't want to make a nostalgic looking GT car. It wanted it to look modern and futuristic. So that's why you don't get many sharp creases nor sculptured body panels. The whole car is much simpler and less fussy than other Ferraris. But even though Ferrari claims there aren't any retro design features, I can spot a few. The way the headlights wrap around the front bumper reminds me of the 365 Daytona. And this 12-cylinder even has a similar piece of black trim on the bonnet as that car as well. Also, the new daytime running lights stick out like chrome bumpers on other classic Ferraris, but the way these extend behind the front wheels reminds me of something else. But you can't guess what? It's actually a Genesis G90. Bet you didn't expect that, and I bet you can't unsee it now. Anyhow, the rest of this car looks nothing like a posh Korean limousine. The windscreen has been pushed as far back as possible to make space for the car's enormous V12 engine, and more on that in a bit. The rear pillars have an exaggerated shape that sweep backwards behind the windows, then it curves forwards towards the middle of the roof. In this respect, it looks similar to the SF90, and it means Ferrari has been able to give the 12-cylinder a glass roof instead of an aluminium or carbon fibre one, though that will actually increase the centre of gravity. Oh well. One of the biggest changes though for the new Ferrari happens around the back. The brake lights have been squashed completely flat. There isn't even a hint of roundness like you get on the SF90. Underneath, there's a huge rear diffuser that you can get in black or carbon, and below that are the quad exhaust pipes, because a Ferrari V12 has to have 4 exhaust pipes. It's actually the law in Italy. However, Ferrari has also flattened these out so they're rectangular and sit inside a metal shroud. I actually prefer the round pipes on other Ferraris rather than these new ones. Not sure about them at all. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Unlike other car makers, Ferrari's sticking with a big, naturally aspirated V12 engine. But Ferrari won't be able to make these engines forever, so this could be one of the very last front-engine V12 Ferraris you'll ever be able to buy. Well, if you've got enough money to buy one. So it better be good, right? It's actually based on the 6.5-litre V12 that was available in the 812 Competizione, which I'm going to call from now on the 812 Competition. So you get pistons made from a special aluminium alloy, a rebalanced lighter crankshaft, and new titanium conrod that are 40% lighter than steel ones. You also get the same clever intake manifolds as the 812 Competition. These can change how the air flows inside them depending on the engine speed. If you force the air to travel further before it gets sucked into the cylinders, you get more torque at low revs. But if you give the air a shortcut at high revs, you then get more power. Anyway, let's cut to the chase. How much power and torque does this V12 actually produce? Well, the 12-cylinder's engine generates 830 horsepower and 678 newton-meters of torque. That's the same power as the engine in the 812 Competition, and only 14 fewer newton-meters of torque. The 12-cylinder also has 5 horsepower more than you get from the new naturally aspirated V12 in the Lamborghini Revuelto, though of course that car then does have 3 electric motors which boost its power to over 1,000 horsepower. Now if you want to see a drag race between the new Lamborghini and a Ferrari, click on the pop-out banner in the top right hand corner of the screen, or follow the QR code appearing on the screen right now. But this new Ferrari isn't going up against the hybrid Lamborghini supercar. It's actually an alternative to GT cars like the AMG GT 63S Hybrid and the forthcoming Aston Martin Vanquish. Aston has already confirmed it's working on a new V12 engine for that car that will have 835 horsepower and 1,000 newton-meters of torque. The big difference, however, is that the Aston Martin engine has twin turbos, so it probably won't sound as good as the Ferrari. Speaking of which, Ferrari has gone to great lengths to make sure this new 12-cylinder sounds like a proper V12, despite all the latest rules about emissions, particulate filters and noise regs. For example, it's repositioned the exhaust resonators to make the exhaust tone sound better from the driver's seat. and all the individual pipes that make up the exhaust manifolds measure exactly the same length. Now this is very hard to do when you have so many cylinders, but it's worth it because it makes the sound better. These equal length manifolds are one of the reasons why some old V10 and V12 Formula 1 cars sound so good. Well, that and the fact that they rev to almost 20,000 RPM. This new Ferrari doesn't quite rev that high, but Ferrari has confirmed the red line is a pretty staggering 9,500 RPM. That's the same as the new Lamborghini Rialto's V12, and it's also 500 RPM higher than the red line in the old 812 Superfast and the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. If you really want to enjoy the sound of this new Ferrari, you'll want to get the convertible version. Now, Ferrari normally waits to reveal drop-top versions of its GT cars, but it hasn't this time, because here it is. It's called the 12-cylinder Spider, and it looks exactly how you'd expect. It's a 12-cylinder coupe with a folding metal and glass roof. Ferrari says the 12-cylinder coupe will accelerate from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 2.9 seconds, and this Spider takes a smidge longer at 2.95 seconds, because it's a bit heavier due to the roof mechanism. Both cars though have a top speed at over 211 miles an hour. That's pretty much exactly the same 0 to 60 time and top speed as the old 812 Superfast. But how would it compare in the real world? Well, I'm going to hopefully get one to drive, so make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon to turn your notifications on so you're alerted when I finally upload that video. The new Ferrari 12 cylinders interior looks pretty similar to the one in the Purosangue SUV, apart from the fact you don't have any back seats, of course. You do get a very similar dashboard with two separate cockpit style sections separated by a pair of air vents. Just like the Purosangue, there's a digital display and a touchscreen for your passenger. But unlike that car, the 12-cylinder has another even larger screen in the middle, and it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. Besides these screens, there's Alcantara everywhere, as you'd expect from a Ferrari, and you'll be able to customise all the leather, all the stitching and all the trim to your heart's content and your wallet's discontent. The 12-cylinder doesn't just look new on the inside, it's completely new under the skin too. The chassis is made from aluminium like the old 812, but the design is different. Ferrari has found a new way to cast the shock towers and roof pillars to make them lighter yet more rigid. As a result, the new car is 15% stiffer than the old 812. And that should improve the handling. And it claims this new car weighs 1,560 kilos, though Ferrari only quotes dry weight because it sounds better. If you want to compare it to other cars' curb weight, you need to add in the weight of a driver and some fluids, so an extra 140 or so kilos. Unlike other front-engine V12 Ferraris, the new 12-cylinder has active aerodynamics, but I bet you can't spot where it is. Look at the way the rear windscreen seems to get wider at the back of the car. Well, the outer triangular sections are actually separate flaps that can raise or lower at speed. They stay flat below 37 miles an hour to reduce drag, but they pop up when you go faster to produce downforce and keep the car more stable, though they actually fold back into low drag mode above 186 miles an hour so the car can hit its top speed. Though, aren't you then losing stability? Is this a good idea, Ferrari? I'm sure you know what you're doing, right? Anyhow, just like the 812, the new 12-cylinder has an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox. But the ratios have been tweaked and the engine management software rewritten to deliver different torque profiles depending on which gear you're in. Ferrari says this makes the car feel smoother and more progressive to drive. Probably not such an animal then, which is part of the 812's charm. Even bigger change is the new brake-by-wire system, which removes any physical connection between the brake pedal and the brakes. It's all done by electrics, but that's not all. Ferrari has given the 12-cylinder a new version of the 812 competition's four-wheel steering system. These two features actually work together as part of the new stability control system that Ferrari calls Side Slip Control 8. This latest software is able to work out how much grip the road offers at lower speeds than ever before. And this means you don't have to be driving on the limit for it to know exactly what's going on between the road and the tyres. Speaking of which, you can choose to get your 12-cylinder fitted with Goodyear Eagle F1 Super Sport tyres or Michelin Pilot Sport 5 S's. I'll go with the Michelins, thank you very much. Ferrari hasn't announced how much the new 12-cylinder costs, but it's probably going to cost from around £300,000. And as always, the Spider will be more expensive, plus once you've added a few options, yeah, you could be looking at well over £400,000 for one of these things. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, it really helps us out, and let me know what you think of my verdict on this car in the comments below. If you click on the video windows, you can watch some more videos, and if you click on the CarWow logo, you can go to CarWow to see how much money you can save on your next car. Thanks for watching.